Okay, am I the only one who thought Margot Robbie was the star of this movie? Ready or not? Simple enough premise. A woman marries into an affluent family only to find out that she's the target of a ritualistic murder. Happens all the time. So, personally, I thought this movie was something of a watered down grindhouse flick. Um, the actress in question, whom I thought really was Margot Robbie, was actually the niece of Hugo Weaving, whose name suddenly escapes me. I know she's the niece of Hugo Weaving, I know that much. She did a pretty good job. She went from blushing bride to basically a slasher movie final girl, and she was very human. She reacted in ways that honestly fit. As for her husband, he was in the movie, basically. He doesn't get interesting until towards the end, and honestly, the rest of the family is what got my attention. They played a bunch of psychotic yuppies, and they owned it. They really represented a caricature of old affluent families very well, in my humble opinion. Um, the whole premise, uh, it's kind of ridiculous when you think about it, but overall, the fact that they played it straight made for a much more enjoyable watch. There were some gore effects, and honestly, they did a pretty good job. Uh, I think a lot of this movie's budget went into the gore effects, and that made for a much better payoff towards the end. And here and there throughout the flick, um, the music, it varied. It was basically a bunch of old music covers that did an okay job of setting the mood. There's this one character who's obsessed with classical music, and it made for a decent section of this movie. Personally, I think if they had kept the heavier edge on the flick, this would have made for a perfect grindhouse double feature with something. But as is, it wasn't the worst way to spend an hour and a half. If they made a sequel, hopefully it could be more gory, more grindhouse-ish. But I don't think they're going to make a sequel because they kind of closed the book on it. I'm not going to spoil it, but this is definitely a one movie franchise. But it was at least decent. This is Mr. J signing out and reminding you, research your family. Research whatever family you marry into, and if they have weird rituals, just leave. Trust me,